What's up guys, Cwesolo here, and today we are back for another how to code in C# video. Today we are covering arrays, how they work, some potential use cases for them, and yeah. But before we get into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon if you like this kind of content, so that way you won't miss out on any of my future uploads. And yeah, that'd be pretty cool if you'd subscribe and like and comment and stuff. Do that, that'd be pretty sick. All right, let's get into this. All right, so arrays. So let's say, just hypothetically, that you need to have 10 integer values, right? And you need them for something. Let's say you need to keep track of how many steps you take a day, right? And each day is how many steps you took. And we could do this simply by making int day 1, right, and then setting it equal to like 2000, right? Let's say that's day 1, int day 2, right? And we could keep on going and have all these 10 separate integer variables, right? Now, the only problem with this is that you're going to need to remember each of the names of your variables, and if they're all related in some way, right, you're probably going to want to keep some name consistency and stuff like that. But what if I told you there was a better way of keeping track of these related variables, right, and that instead of having them in 10 different, separate variables, you can store them into just one thing? Well, that's what an array is. So an array is essentially a defined list of whatever variable type that you are using, right? So it can be a bool, it can be a string, chars, floats, doubles. It can be all the different variable types. You can make an array of them, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So we're gonna just quickly make an array. There's actually two ways to make arrays. One, you can pre-fill it, and the other one, you have to fill it later. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. So the first one we're going to go over is the one where you have to fill it later, but you're defining the size now. Okay? So the way you do this is you go int, and you put two brackets, and we're going to name it my array, right? And we're going to set it equal to new int array of 10. With the semicolon at the end. This is one way that you can make an array. And now this is going to hold 10 values. So it starts from 0 and goes to 9. This is something to mention because if you start in a for loop and you start from going from 1 to 10, right, you're going to have some issues. So you need to start. So remember that computers start with 0. 0 is the first number with computers. It starts with the 0 and goes to 9 when you're traversing through this array. Or if it's an array of 100, it's 0 to 99. Okay, if it's 1,000, it's 0 to 999. Okay, so just remember that computers, the very first number is 0. It doesn't start with 1. It starts with 0. So that is one way you can make an array. The other way you can make an array is you predefine it. So you are essentially going to fill it with values straight from the get-go, and it's only going to be the size that you determine to be with how many values that you put into it. So let's say we want an array of 5 things, and we're going to just number it 1 through 5. All right? So you're going to go int, the brackets, like so. We're going to go my array 2, or 2 equals, and this is where you're going to want to use curly braces, like this, almost like you're starting a, like a for loop or something like that, or an if statement, except that we're not doing that here. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And now this array has 5 numbers in it, 1 through 5, from position 0 to 4. Okay. And this one is an empty array that can hold 10 integers. Now like I said, you can make a Boolean array. So let's say we want to make a Boolean array, and we're going to call it bool array, right? And we're going to set it equal to, this, and we're going to have true, true, false, all right? another array, just different variable type. It's still holding a list of items, right? So it's the same thing, just with a different variable type. Now, in the last couple videos, we covered loops, right? Now, if you want to, let's say, take some data, or you want to fill an array, or you want to get everything out of an array, right? You want to remove everything out of an array. For loops are really useful for this, okay? And the cool thing about these arrays is that there are some helper functions that we can use in these for loops. So let's say we want to fill this array here. So we're going to just fill it with random numbers. So we're going to go random RNG, right? We're going to make it random again, equals new random, like so. And, oh, I forgot something here. My bad. I forgot the curly braces. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and go for int I equals 0. I is less than my array dot length. So we're getting the length of the array, I plus plus. And now we are going to fill this thing. So we're going to go ahead and go with my array at position I is equal to rng.next. We're going to fill it between 1 and 100. Okay. Now, and we're going to go ahead and after we're done with this, we'll just print all the values out to the console at I. Not 1, we want I. All right. So if you were paying attention through our for loop video, and if you missed it, you might want to go back and watch it. This for loop is going to count from 0 to whatever the length is of this array, which just so happens to be 10, and it's going to increment up, filling it up with, at the position my array at I, which is whatever value this is going to be, and then it's going to fill it with a value between 0 and 100 thanks to our nice little our random number generator here. So pretty cool. And then after that, it's going to display it to the console, and then that's it. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and run this array, or run this program, and we're going to see that our array here is filled with all of our numbers. And this looks to be 10 different numbers. So completely random, it's filled, and it was printed out to the console. Now the cool thing is, so let's say now, I don't know, we want to change a value in our array, right? We want to change position 5, okay? And we want to make it something that something different. We don't want it to be a random number. We want it to be something that we want to put in. Let's say we're just going to change it, right? This actually can be done very easily. You would simply just go my array at position 5, right, is equal to 10, just like that. Now, this is going to change the 5th position in my array, which is actually going to be the 6th position, so because we start with 0, so it's actually going to be the 6th, right? And it's going to set it to 10. So the 6th item in the array is going to be now 10. And this is where you have to remember that computers start with 0, okay? It can get a little confusing because if you're writing your programs, right, and if you were to start with 1 here, right, there's going to be an empty thing in the array. And we can see this by simply running this, is that this is only 9 objects, okay? There's something missing. There's a value missing from the array because we started with 1. We didn't start with 0. We started with 1, okay? So just you have to remember that you are starting with 0. And that's just something to remember. You can program around this so that way when you type in, so for example, if you're taking user input, you can code around this to where when you put in 1, it's actually going to be whatever your integer number is minus 1. So that way for us humans, I'm trying to get the first item out of the array, but then the computer is going to know, okay, I'm taking the 0th item out of the array, right? It's the item that is the very first item in the array is at position 0, and we'll just take that out instead of going to 1, right? So that's how arrays work. They're very useful. They have a whole bunch of helper functions too, like length. we can kind of go through them, and they're very useful. So let's go ahead and go through some of these nice little helper functions. So you can copy it, clone it, you can see if it's equal to something. They have all kinds of different helper functions that you can use. Most often you're probably going to be using a length with your loops and stuff like that. Yeah. But this is something to mention though with arrays, okay? This size that we defined up here for my array and both my array too, okay? These are terrible names. You should probably name your array something more meaningful. But this size cannot be changed. You cannot change this size later. If you need a bigger array, you are going to need to copy everything from this array and put it into a bigger array. So let's say we wanted to combine these two arrays, all right? We want to put everything from these two arrays in a bigger array, okay? Well, let's go ahead and do that. So we are going to make a bigger array. So we're going to go int. We're going to make it a big array. So we're going to just call it my array 3. We're going to set it equal to new int array of size 20, right? And now we have a bigger array, and we are going to just simply populate everything in it with the two arrays. So my array 3 is now going to equal everything from my array. I'm not sure if you can just copy this in here, but we're going to try. So I think we're going to need, yeah. So there we go. We can just do this. We can go copy 2. My array 3. And I think that should work something like that. Otherwise, if that doesn't work, you can just use a for loop. So we go for int I equals 0. I is less than. So we're going to fill my array 3. My array 3. Actually, we'll just do for my array dot length, perfect, I plus plus, right? And we're gonna go my array 3 at position I equals my array at position I. And now, as you can see, this is now going to fill everything from my array and put it into my array 3. And then we can also put these values in here too if we wanted. So, and that's actually something pretty cool that we can do. So, but just know that this is a fixed size. This is a fixed size. These sizes cannot change. These size cannot change. Once you define a size for your array, it is not changing. If you need to put more data in it, you need to make a separate and bigger array. I think it's pretty simple. And that's pretty much all I got for you guys in this video. So that's how arrays work. You can fill them. You can unfill them. Take things out of them, put stuff in, change them. Just know that this size here is not going to change. This size is not going to change. Once it's defined, there is no changing it. And these arrays are very useful. You can use them in many different algorithms and many different data structure types. So yeah, they're pretty cool and they're very useful. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like the video, like it, comment if you have any questions or anything like that. And I'll see you guys in the next video.